Watch KSTV weeknights at 7:30 and 11 Eastern, and anytime with Insight on Demand on Channel 103.
Now, the Governor's Cup game, of course, is right around the corner. Last night we talked about the defensive line. Stan Norfleet is back. Talk about linebackers. That's your position,
yes,
isn't it?
Absolutely. You see the smile. I'm geeked up about this one.
The UK's had a history the last few years, probably 6-7 years, of some great linebackers. Wesley Woodyard, Danny Trevathan, even guys like Sam Maxwell, Braxton Kelly. Guys that can make plays. This group now is a young group, but we've heard from Joker, we've heard from Rick Minter. It's a group that's going to make plays. 4-3, 3-4. UK is going to mix it up, but maybe not a traditional 3-4, right?
You can do so many different things with a 3-4. I think what you'll see is, for the fan that looks out there, UK might be in a 3-4 front, but you might see Bud Dupree walked up on the line of scrimmage and have everybody shaded over on the defensive line. It's going to give the appearance of a 4-3, but it's really a 3-4 personnel. So a lot of times formations will dictate how you hop in and out of those different fronts. And I think that Bud Dupree is going to be a key. When you talk about linebackers, for me, it starts with him. He has all of the physical attributes to play on Sunday. Now, that's a little premature. He still got some work to do here at Commonwealth Stadium, but from a size, from a speed, from a strength perspective, from an athleticism perspective, the NFL scouts are really going to like what he brings to the table. And
he's a guy that Joker Phillips says he's ready to be a leader of this defense, along with Avery Williamson, another young linebacker. When you're putting young players on the field, I think of linebacker as a playmaking position on the defense, where you have to stop the run and be ready and pass. Is there a learning curve in terms, or is their ability to make plays contingent on the secondary of the defensive line?
A little bit of both. When you talk about a 3-4, it's really a fit defense. I mean, you really want to create a wall. So the linebackers, for instance, Avery Williamson on the inside, depending on what the read is, pass versus run, he's got to get downhill right now, which means get into the line of scrimmage, because he can't afford for those seams to be created and create run gaps for the running backs to squirt through. At the same time, Bud Dupree's doing the exact same thing from an edge position, but what if it's a pass? Now he's got to turn and use that athleticism and get out there to the flats and the hook and the curl zone and be a defender as well. So I say from a linebacker perspective, the most difficult person to find on the field is Avery Williamson. And when you talk about DeMarcus Ware and guys like that, Clay Matthews is another one, those types of players are just so hard to find, and we hope that Bud Dupree can grow into that type of role.
And UK's had success with that, because Trevathan and Woodyard were kind of those guys that they were a little smaller, and they were just making plays. You don't know how they got there, but they got there to make the plays.
But those two guys aren't prototypical 3-4 linebackers. They play very well in a 4-3. In 4-3, when you got two big butts down at the defensive tackle, you can have smaller guys that flow from sideline to sideline, just knocking down ball carriers. When you go in and out of that 3-4, again, you got to have that anchor. We talked about that on the defensive front, but you got to have beasts, freaks of nature on the edge that are getting to the quarterback from a two-point stance. Difficult to do.
Maybe the sexiest position of that linebacking core is the old Winston Guy position, the guy that's going to be running around trying to get to the quarterback, make plays, cause a little confusion for the quarterback. It looks like Miles Simpson's going to be that guy playing that position. Josh Forrest is there with them. Former running backs coming out of high school, young guys. What type of mentality is there when you're going from offense to defense? Is it a switch type of thing, or is it just you play football, you go out there and you make plays?
Some of it is instinctual. You've been playing this game most of your life. You know this game. But there is a mentality difference when you transition from offense over to defense. I mean, just think of the natural progression of the game. Offense can punt. So if things don't go well, they can go, oh, we'll punt. We get to do it again once the defense does their job. And on defense, there's only two things that's going to happen. Either they're going to score or you're going to make them get a ball up. That's it. So defense has to be much more aggressive, much more focused and dialed in on doing your responsibilities. But at the same time, you got to be loose enough to just go play. Much respect to Miles Simpson. I know he's the leading candidate right now, as he was in the spring. But I came out of the spring really liking Josh Forrest. I think he had an interception and returned it for a touchdown in the spring game. I love his size. I like his athleticism. He's a young guy. But it wouldn't surprise me one bit if we looked up and he was the starter mid to latter part of the season.
How critical is that position? It gets a lot of publicity, and when Winston Guy moved around the field, it's one that fans really focus on. For the overall success of the defense, how critical is that position?
Well, I don't think any linebacker position is more important than the other. They all have to work in unison. when I was playing a position, we used to say, all of us on a rope. So if I, what they call stem, and kind of show that I'm going to blitz up on the line of scrimmage, the linebackers on the inside of me have got to come in with me. We've got to all work in unison, or there's a break in the system, and there's a seam, and now somebody's out the gate.
You got to get you out there to talk. You watch the games, you want to get out there and hit somebody, don't you? I can see it. I can see it in your eyes.
It's coming. It's in the air.
All right, Stan, thank you very much.
Always.
Tomorrow night, we'll go over the secondary.